Well, happy knee-versary to me, because today is 4 months since I had my knee replacement. So it was a fitting time to do an update. And what has happened in the last 2 weeks? Let me see. So the first thing, which is pretty major, was I was able to take the spin bike back to work because I don't need it anymore to warm up on. I can climb straight on my bike and pedal on the turbo trainer. I have not tried climbing on my bike and cycling down the road without a warm up, but that's the next step. However, I'm feeling pretty chuffed that I've been able to take the spin bike back because I needed that. I've needed that since December to get the knee bending enough. I've also managed to achieve 123 degrees. This is not consistent every day. Some days better than others, but that's only 7 degrees off full range of motion for a knee replacement. And I also managed to get a hold of my foot behind a quad stretch, but I'd been in the hydrotherapy pool for 35 minutes or so, and it's quite warm water. Haven't managed it on land yet, but trying to get that quad to stretch, that's a major thing for me for sure. I have been back to the beach and I have managed to confidently walk on sand, which is progress indeed, because the last few times I've been down there, I've looked like a geriatric. I have also been out walking every week, near enough, with my wee walking group of clients. And we went a few weeks ago to Fossbender Park, and it's a maybe 30-minute loop, but it's up and down steps quite a lot, and it undulates quite a lot. And the first time I did it, it took 25 minutes. Did it last week, took me 20 minutes. So things are improving. I'm now able to get down and up steps that aren't ones that aren't too deep, like a normal person, 1 foot at a time. Down steps, it's taken me quite a while to achieve that actually, because that has been really painful. So it just goes to show that the leg strength is improving for sure. But the most major thing that I can report for progress is yesterday, on the eve of my kneeversary, we went to Dunedin to watch the Highlanders play against the Reds. Now the Highlanders stadium is in the basin. Dunedin's built in a basin. So there's hills all around it, really steep ones. And then in the flat at the bottom is where Dunedin City is, and it's where the stadium is. Just to give you an idea of how steep the streets are, Dunedin houses the steepest residential street in the world. So that's how steep the streets are. Now our B&B was at the top of Saddle Hill, because it's cheaper if it's not in the city. Now we had aimed to walk to the stadium and then maybe taxi back, but there's a number of things that happened to me yesterday that I'm feeling quite joyous about. Firstly, we managed to walk down Saddle Hill to the stadium. Down is terrible. I needed Mark as a crutch, but I got there. We then sat in the stadium and watched the game for 80 minutes or so, plus the halftime interval. And I was able to sit with knee bent, sitting on the stadium seats for a lot longer than I normally can tolerate. We had a right aisle, so I could stick my foot out if I needed to, but it was way better than it ever has been any other time that I've been there. We then decided we would go to town to an Irish bar for a couple of beers. Now the walk down from Saddle Hill to the stadium was 2.5k. Then we walked to town, 2.5k, another 2.5k. Now there's no way that I could have done this with my other knee. No way. So we walked to town to the Irish bar. Now I sat in the Irish bar for a couple of hours, and we were people watching and laughing at the live band that was on and things like that. And I was sitting on a bar stool. No way I could have sat on a bar stool before because of the height of the stool and the fact that my foot always needed to be on a platform. Then we were toying with the idea of getting a taxi back, but taxis here are really expensive. Now I'd been sitting for a while and my knee was feeling all right. So I said, why don't we try walking back? Saddle Hill, it's a steep hill. However, that's 2.5 k's back to the stadium and then 2.5 k's past the stadium and up the hill to the top of the hill, which I also managed. I only flagged maybe a couple of minutes before the top, but that was a total of 10 k's with 5k of it up and down steep hills. Now, all of that together in one evening, I'm feeling pretty joyous. It now only takes the knee maybe 24 hours at the most to recover back to its original size. If I stand up too much and I do too much, it does swell up. So on Tuesday I had to cover for a sick staff member and I was in work for 14.5 hours and my leg was quite large. But by the next day it was back to not too bad, and I went to the pool and sat in this plunge pool and chilled it for a while, and by the end of the next day it was actually all right again. Now its recovery is heaps faster than it ever has been, and I think today is the first time ever that I can say this knee is better than the one I had before the op. Doesn't do everything that I need it to do. I'm still working on some things, but it is better than the situation that I was in before my knee replacement operation, for sure. And this is the first time this weekend that I've actually been able to confidently say that. I had been asked this 5 or 6 weeks post-op, and the jury was still out. I think I did a separate video on it. But today I can say that I'm in a better place now than I was before the op. Still got to build my cardio fitness back up because I lost it quite a frightful amount. In fact, Mark was quite surprised how hard I found it climbing up the hill, and it wasn't the leg, it was the lungs. So I'm still working on that, and there's still a lot of stuff to be done. I've still got to get that flexion moving, and I've got to get it consistently bending. Oh, there's another thing I've just thought of. I can kneel down and stand up. I can kneel down on one knee, on my good knee, and then get stood up again. I can't kneel down on my bad knee, one knee, and get stood up again, not yet, but I'm working on it. So that's better because it means that I can get up and down off the ground way better than I used to. So that means that now I'm taking back personal training classes. Personal training one-on-one. I've had classes for a wee while, and I'm able to sustain working bookings for a couple of hours, 2.5 hours at a time, without having to sit down and have a rest. And I have got my massage appointments back up to 45 minutes, but I'm not taking them back to back just yet. So things are progressing well. Like I say, this is the 4-month anniversary of the knee. So in knee terms, we're still really early on in this journey, although some people that have not had a knee replacement find it a little bit odd. So at the moment, I think I'm in no man's land, because if I'm walking around, you wouldn't think there was anything wrong with me, but I'm still really early on in a knee replacement rehab program. It's just that the disability is not physical anymore, and I'm not limping and things like that. So I can cover it up better, but I still have got a long way to go. However, things are looking upwards. So that's excellent.
Back and forth.